Hey, it's the announcement guy with my friend Melissa here. She's a facilitator for our sign language on Sunday mornings. And this is a great service. If you know somebody who could benefit from it, please let them know. Here's what's coming up.
Hi, this is Dr. Michelle. I'm conducting a workshop on Sunday, May 21st, 11:30 to 1 p.m. It's a love offering, pay what you will workshop where we're going to explore and examine tools and measurements for increasing our level of financial wellness. I look forward to seeing you then.
Hi, it's Dr. Barry. I wanted to tell you about an event we have coming up on June 3rd, a Saturday, from 9 to 1 in the community center. It's called the Art of Coexistence Festival. It's open to everybody. You can bring the kids. There'll be lots of presenters and demonstrations. And the focus is to see how we can be more sustainable as individuals and as a community, and to help the world, help the planet to coexist with each other. I hope that you'll join us. We'll have food trucks and there's going to be a lot of fun. Check out our website for more information.
We've got some great class and workshop offerings coming up in June. Our own Dr. Roger Teal is teaching here on campus again, beginning Monday, June 5th, with the Spiral of Awakening. It's all about how to use spiral dynamics to uplift your life. Reverend Jackie Harris is teaching an online course Tuesdays, Radical Forgiveness, beginning June 6th. And our own Dr. Patty is initiating us into the second half of life in person, beginning Thursday, June 8th.
Just want to remind you that we have a facilitator doing our ASL sign language every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock at Mile High Church, or you can find us online on YouTube, ASL Mile High. Have a great week. You too.
Hello! Let's move a little bit. And you can sing with me, or you can just dance, or you can just groove. It's really up to you. But we're together, and that's what counts. We begin with I Sing My Love. I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. I live my peace, I live my peace, I live my peace, I live my peace into the world. I live my peace, I live my peace, I live my peace into the world. I live my peace, I live my peace, I live my peace into the world. Ooh, I live my peace, I live my peace, I live my peace into the world. I dance my joy, I dance my joy, I dance my joy, I dance my joy into the world. Ooh, I dance my joy, I dance my joy, I dance my joy into the world. Yeah, I dance my joy, I dance my joy, I dance my joy into the world. I dance my joy, I dance my joy, I dance my joy into the world. I sing my love, oh, I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. That's right. I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. Oh, I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. That's how you do it. Beautiful.
Lauren Sheely, thank you so much for getting started. Good morning, Mile High Church. Welcome. So happy to see you all here. Happy to see those of you who are watching online. What a joy it is to be together. Indeed, today's service is all about joy, in experiencing joy through abundance. And so we're going to start right away by allowing ourselves to breathe in that energy of joy and to just feel with every breath out that it's touching and supporting all of the people around us. If you came with someone or friends here today, send that love to them. If you came all by yourself to church, send love to the people you're sitting nearby and just feel that joy filling the space. What a gift it is to be in spiritual community. We send joy and love to those of us watching online, and then imagine that the ceiling is opening up, just like we do on the 4th of July when it opens up for the flyover, right? And all that joyous energy is just moving out into the world and surrounding our entire globe. To me, this exercise is part of what we get to do as spiritual community. We get to continue to create a more joyous and centered life for ourselves and the world that we move in, and then also give it back to the rest of the world. So thank you for participating in that. And you were hopefully given a little noise maker when you came in. I will tell you later on in the service what we're going to do with those, but there will be a time where you'll be invited to participate with us with your noisemaker, so it'll be fun. And until then, let us now turn our attention to our vision and mission. I invite you to speak them aloud with me. Let's start with our vision. Oneness revealed, a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. And our mission, to serve as a spiritual beacon for personal empowerment and global enlightenment. What a joy it is to be a stand for all of that. And we now move into a time of spiritual practice. We're going to sing together, have some beautiful silence, and then Dr. Barry will pray us in. Let's take a deep breath and begin.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Oh, what a joy it is to fall into our hearts together this morning and invite the presence of the living Spirit to fill us. I know that right now we are surrounded by a divine love, a divine wisdom, a divine joy that seeks to express itself through us. So I invite us right now to just feel that. To experience that feeling of being held, being loved, being cared for. I give thanks for this opportunity today to be in this beautiful sanctuary together. I give thanks for Mile High Church, for the lighthouse that it is, how it brought us all here, different times, different places in our lives, where we could feel at home, and we could grow. And as we celebrate this amazing time of spring and the glory and the beauty that is around us this morning, I know that all the elements for growth are alive in each of us as well. We celebrate that. We align our hearts with seekers of truth all over this planet, however they might worship, however they might express their faith. I know that we all seek closer connection with our Creator. I bless all those who work with our youth and our families here at Mile High Church, the ways that we reach out and serve in the world. And I give such thanks for Dr. Michelle this morning, her message of joy, of bringing joy into all we do. I give thanks for all those who sing and share and play this morning and lift our hearts. What a gift it is to be alive right now. I do give thanks. So it is. Amen.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. Come with me. No hell below us. And you'll see above us holy sky. It isn't hard to do. Come with me. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace.
Our inspirational words today come from Mother Teresa. A joyful heart is the normal result of a heart burning with love. She gives most who gives with joy. And from Eckhart Tolle, on a deeper level, you are already complete. When you realize that, there is a playful, joyous energy behind what you do. And our founder, Ernest Holmes. There is a stream of life running into every organ and function of your being. This stream is always there. It never stops for a second. If it did, the universe would cease to exist. Inexhaustible energy exists at the center of your being. Therefore, learn to live without effort. Activity is the joy of life flowing through you.
When surrounded by the shades of gray, when a blue sky's out of place, when there's a hunger for a new point of view, can there be a way to hold on to the hope that good things always find a way to grow and take control? We'll rise above, seize the highest dream. We'll lift our heads up high, move the sky, embrace our destiny. Rise above, for the world to see that there's a brighter day, a better way to be all we can be. Rise above. The strength within a seed can change the earth. The strength within our souls heals hurt. So as we reach beyond right here and now, with a touch we can turn stones into gold. And together we can bear a heavy load. Take hold, we'll rise above, seize the highest dream. We'll lift our heads up high, move the sky, embrace our destiny. Rise above, for the world to see that there's a brighter day, a better way to be all we can be. Rise above. Every heart that is pounding out or beating out, let it soar and shout. We can stand with the strong and proud. Just look around, you can leave the ground. Put your trust in the power of one. You can shift the tide or turn off the sun. Believe in it all. Seize the highest dream. We'll lift our heads up high, move the sky, embrace our destiny. Rise above, for the world to see
14-year-old Esme who sang the lead on that. Thank you, Esme. Beautiful job. Yes. And we also want to acknowledge the choir director for 12 years, Stacy Landis. This is her last performance with us. She is giving up her role as our choir director, and we're very sad to let her go. And she's moving on to beautiful things in her life that are calling her forward. And we want to thank you for your 12 years of service to us. Yeah, thank you. Although she will be directing us at the Coors game that we're going to sing at on June 29th. You can get your ticket for that, and I say us because the choir's letting me sing with them. Yay, I'm looking forward to it. And so she'll be with us for that. Thank you so much, choir. Have a wonderful rest of your day. We're so grateful for all of them, yes. Well, welcome to our third and final week of our Adventure in Prosperity series. If you took the 3 weeks that we've done together and put them all together, I sort of see them like a 3-week workshop. Week 1, we focused on the idea of God in and through all. And week 2, we talked about how we are a channel, an instrument for that presence of abundance that flows freely and effortlessly through the universe to flow through us and manifest itself into our lives. And that we can look at what's in the way of that manifestation, what thoughts, ideas, emotions, past experiences, resentments that are keeping us from allowing the fullness of that life to flow through us. And today, as we finish our Joyful Abundance series, I really want to lean into the joyful part, to talk about ways to add a little bit of joy, to infect just a little seed of joy, even in our most challenging and sorrowful places of abundance. Yes, I totally understand that as we're moving through our lives, there can be times when the lack that we experience in our life, a lack of companionship that comes with a deep feeling of loneliness, which the Surgeon General is saying is an epidemic in our world right now. The lack of opportunity if we think that we want to move forward in some meaningful way and we feel as though we can't quite get where we want to be. The lack of health if we're facing a diagnosis or a health issue. A lack of funds or financial abundance at times when we really need it. And it's not at all that our teaching just says, hey, just put on a happy face and ignore that experience that we're having or those emotions or feelings that we're having about that struggle or that challenge. Our teaching is not a teaching of denial. Yet it is a teaching that understands that while we move through those experiences and the feelings and thoughts that are generated from them, that we can be a part of, a huge part of moving forward in solutions. That there comes a time and a place where we can say to ourselves, even in the midst of our most challenging moments, how could I lift myself up a little bit more out of my sorrows and into joy? And indeed, maybe it's all connected. I love what Khalil Gibran tells us about this. He is a mystic poet who lived from 1883 to 1931. He wrote the book, The Prophet, and he said in it about joy, then a woman said, speak to us of joy and sorrow. And he answered, your joy is your sorrow unmasked. And the selfsame well from which your laughter rises was oftentimes filled with your tears. And how else can it be? The deeper that sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain. Is not the cup that holds your wine the very cup that was burned in the potter's oven? And is not the lute that soothes your spirit the very wood that was hollowed with knives? When you are joyous, look deep into your heart, and you shall find it is only that which has given you sorrow that is giving you joy. When you are sorrowful, look again in your heart, and you shall see that in truth you are weeping for that which has been your delight. Some of you say, joy is greater than sorrow. And others say, nay, sorrow is the greater. But I say unto you, they are inseparable. Together they come. And when one sits alone with you at your board, remember that the other is asleep upon your bed. Verily, you are suspended like scales between your sorrow and your joy. Only when you are empty are you at standstill and balanced. When the treasure keeper lifts you to weigh his gold and his silver, needs must your joy or your sorrow rise or fall. They are connected. This ability to feel the full measure of living is connected. And it's neither right nor wrong, as he's saying, to feel great sorrow and frustration about the things that aren't going our way. And it also is connected to seek to reach for a greater sense of joy. And we New Thought people, we science of mind and spirit people, sometimes we struggle with this because we're thinking many times that we should just bypass and overrun our negative feelings or our negative thoughts or our frustration, and that we should always be happy, happy, joy, joy. This is what we call a spiritual bypass. It's getting a lot of conversation in psychology these days, and positive psychology. The temptation to just push down the negative feelings. And from talking from last week, we can start to understand how that will never serve us. That it's never about just burying deep negative feelings at all. It's about doing the holy, sacred work for resolution and moving up the spiral of beingness. And along the way, there's a possibility to infuse a little joy, not so that we can ignore our sorrow, but so that we can continue to feed ourselves the full measure of who and what we are and begin to unravel some of the experiences that we are having. Yesterday, I was honored to facilitate a memorial service for a young man who died when he was 39 years old. And I have a connection to this family after doing a wedding for some other members of the family. And everyone was in that space that we can fall into. And I thought, this is exactly what we're talking about. Deep sadness and sorrow, tears, brokenheartedness, that the life of this young man was no longer going to be physically in this family and this group of friends. But at the same time, as we're having this memorial, beautiful stories of his life, his legacy, and funny stories about how he would go to restaurants and always order everything off the menu and eat it all before dinner, and they couldn't understand how he ate so much, and that became kind of the joke of the whole memorial, that feeling of both and. And the reason that both and can be present even as someone has died and moved to the next plane of existence, because as we move through our lives, we are all of it and a bag of chips, right? We're the whole enchilada. We are the fullness of our sorrows and our joys all at once. And our greatest awakening can come when we allow that to be. When we don't make it wrong that we might feel sad or disappointed. When we don't seek to be joyful too quickly or happy too quickly. When we move through the dance of living in all of it and can feel the connection to it all, that it is possible to be deeply sorrowful and a little joyful at the same time. That it doesn't have to be either or, it's both and. And so we can learn about this when it comes to any issue of abundance. In my personal life, as I reflected upon this, one of the greatest joy moments happened for me that transformed my experience of financial abundance, and it took a little while for it to happen, When I was between the ages of 10 and 14, my parents were separating and divorcing. And my father never wanted my mother to work outside the family. She did a little work here and there, but she certainly never was able to establish a career or go out and really make money that could sustain a family. And when the final moment came that they were no longer going to be married, he sort of said, fine, you're on your own. And so here we were, myself and my younger brother and sister, and my mother had to go out and find a way to make a living. And it was hard. And we struggled. There were times when it didn't feel like there was enough money to feed us. Times there didn't seem like there was enough money to pay the bills. And a few times I went out and babysat and just got the money for babysitting just so we could have groceries. And it was really sad and desperate, and it was scary. I remember, because my insecurity about money and insecurity about how we were going to feed this whole family got so intense that I equated and began to approach money habitually with anxiety, with fear. I'm sure I'm the only one in the room who's ever done that too, right? But it became this habit that as I grew older, went with me even through having jobs and working and getting out on my own and paying my own bills and living in my own home and buying my own groceries. I could do it and I made it, but I would make really stupid decisions sometimes about money and almost sabotage myself and get to the point where I was scared again. And it seemed like that was my habit. So I'm here at Mile High Church, and there's all these classes and workshops and speakers and teachers. And so when it came to the ones about money, I was taking them all the time, and I was working with my practitioner, and I was working with a therapist because I knew that I needed to heal this habitual anxiety if I wanted to welcome more financial abundance into my life. And one of the key teachers whom we've brought here many, many times over the years was Edwene Gaines. And I'm sure many of you have heard of Edwene, and she's a master teacher of prosperity. And the core work around her teaching is about tithing and circulating money. And that scared me tremendously. I tried very hard, but it just seemed to create more anxiety for me. Now, before I go any further in my talk, I know that word tithing can be triggering to some of you right now. I can see the little bubbles over your head. Oh, they're talking about tithing. So let me be very clear about tithing. I believe that tithing is a very powerful, transformative spiritual practice. But just like meditation and other spiritual practices, we all have to choose it for ourselves. This church does not require anyone ever to tithe. We welcome and teach it as a spiritual practice, just like we might teach contemplative meditation or mindful meditation. One way to increase your sense of peace around money is to give in a tithing fashion and be in a consistent practice of that. And for those of us who are interested in that, it can be transformative. And for others, it's not right. And indeed, if you are where I was and experiencing huge anxiety about finances, it may not be the perfect time for tithing, and sometimes that is the perfect time for tithing. Only we get to determine that. So I wrestled with this tithing thing and this giving thing for years, went off and was in my own ministry and was really working and beginning to embrace greater abundance and feeling greater abundance in my life, beginning to flow and feeling some momentum. And then I married my first husband, Brad, and Edwene came to my church in Arizona, and we decided at that point we were going to start tithing. And so we sat down and we talked about a strategy for it. And here's what we did that made all the difference. We decided we were going to make it fun. If we were going to do it, we were going to make it fun. So we created an envelope and we put stickers all over it and we wrote affirmations all over it. And we put the envelope on the refrigerator with a magnet. And from that moment on, anytime any income came in from our jobs or money that came our way from any source, we immediately would write a check for 10% of it. We didn't make it out to anybody, and we would stick that check in the envelope and put it in our check register. That money is now gone, unable to be utilized. And once a week, he and I began to sit down and began to reflect upon our lives. Where had we been inspired, uplifted, supported in remembering the truth of who we are this past week? And that was very fun and transformative. Sometimes we would have an adult beverage while we did this too. We made it like a little party, like a little fun event. And we joyfully would write out those checks to the places and people and organizations that we wanted to uplift because we'd been so inspired. And it became so fun that though I'm not married to that man anymore, I am still a tither, and my husband Ken and I are still tithers, and we do it with great joy. And what was fascinating about this is my anxiety dissipated completely, healed completely, because my giving muscle was so overjoyed to share my good. And that 90% that was left started to feel as though it was going a lot further than it used to go. And my anxiety about money completely went away. I saw that just that little activity of infusing a bit of joy, not only doing what all of the prosperity teachers teach, but doing it my way, in a way that was fun and joyful, made a huge difference in my life. Ernest Holmes tells us, life is an eternal givingness, the offering of the cosmic self to the joy of its own fulfillment. You and I are part of this joy, and we find fulfillment only as this joy passes through us to others. Everything moves in circles. We short circuit our own good when we refuse to pass it on. So what happens when we start to infuse joy into our experience of abundance in any realm, we begin to make ourselves more available, and we start being a spiritual center of joy that begins to emanate through us and from us, impacting our consciousness, our beliefs, helping to heal and smooth out those rough edges. So the one and only talking point I have today for us around this is when it comes to reflecting upon our lives and where we might be experiencing a little lack. One question we could ask ourselves today is, what would make this more fun for me? How could I do one little thing that might bring joy into my experience around this energy and this area of my life? Here are some suggestions I offer up. I think it's fun these days to gamify things. When it comes to money, there are apps that you can use to help yourself have more fun with prosperity. And I also can say that while I've healed my anxiety about money now, the place that I still am working on fervently to heal my anxiety is around time. I don't always feel like I have an abundance of time to do everything I want to do and get everything done that's on my plate. Now, I could blame my job and how busy I am, but I also know that I am part of the issue because I can also be a bit of a workaholic. All right, I admit it. I said it out loud. Hi, my name is Michelle, and I'm a workaholic. I can be. I can work longer and harder because the resolution of those things on my to-do list stresses me out. And so what I will logic is I just need to work hard and get everything done right now. And so I've really begun to ask myself this question. When it comes to time, how could I have more fun with it? and heal that anxiety. And so some of the games that I've played with that is just like tithing and giving. I recognize that when I'm anxious and stressed about time, one thing I can do is give time away. And so what that means to me is I can be of service. I can find ways to serve, volunteer, serve and support outside of the work that I do and my job, my career. Are there ways that I can give a certain amount of time just to be of service to people? And I also have really enjoyed lately setting a timer every hour or 2 hours, and when it goes off, giving myself 10 minutes to do something fun. Watch cat videos, wander around the office and disrupt everyone else's workflow. All sorts of things that make it feel more fun to be in time and space. And what I found is that I get more done in a shorter amount of time, the more I have fun with time. And that it's easing that anxiety for me and making me feel completely more effective. I think we can have fun with things and have parties, like if you are stressful when it comes time to pay bills, that having fun with bill paying is to do what Brad and I did, and that's get some funny hats and maybe your favorite beverage, some snackies, and sit down and pay your bills and play some nice music and enjoy the opportunity to circulate your good to paying your bills. Another way to do that is to have gratitude every time I get to pay that car payment, to just be so grateful I have that car and it gets me around and I could go anywhere I want and I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for this house. I'm going to gladly pay this mortgage. There's a big difference between that and I have to pay this stupid bill. And that little difference can add and infuse a greater amount of joy in finance. In health and wellness, I take a pill every day for a health issue that I'm working with. And it used to be like, I have to take this stupid pill. I don't want to take this pill. I wish I didn't have to take this pill. Rather than, I'm so grateful for God as this beautiful pill that helps my body stay in balance. To me, that's infusing just a little bit of joy into anything that we're doing. Norman Cousins was one of the first to teach us about this. He was a patient who'd been diagnosed with cancer, and he walked out of his doctor's office and checked into a hotel for, I think it was 2 weeks, and just watched funny movies for 2 weeks straight and laughed for 2 weeks straight. Laughter is beautiful medicine. And so if there's something that we have to do that feels really serious and non-joyful, taking time to laugh at something before we step into it, or watching cat videos that are so funny, or whatever it is that can uplift us, because Norman Cousins experienced great healing from laughter. Thursday morning, I was watching the news and saw a story about a young woman named Brooke Evie on the Today Show. When she was 29 years old, Brooke started experiencing muscle weakness, and she didn't know what was causing it. And she went to the doctor, and for 3 years, they worked with her to discover what was going on, and they finally diagnosed that she, at 33, had ALS. And currently, there is not a cure for ALS. The prognosis for any and all ALS patients is their eventual death, that the disease will proceed further. They have some medicines to try to mitigate it a little bit, but she knew she was basically given a death prognosis. And she was so sweet and honest, the epitome of this message. She said she went home and went to bed for 2 weeks and sat in her bed and ate M&Ms and cried. Because she's single, she's never married, never had children, young, has all this life in front of her, and her doctor's saying, not only do you not probably have this whole life in front of you, it's going to change. You're going to have to get a walker and eventually a wheelchair, and she was just not thrilled about this. She said that she had her best friend's wedding coming up, and she didn't want to go. She was a bridesmaid, and she wanted to get out of it as if she possibly could, because at that point she did have to have a walker, and she just didn't see how she could do it. But her friend said, no, you're coming. You're coming. And they went and they got her all dressed up in her dress and put her makeup on, and she went with her walker, and she showed pictures because she said, as my friends gathered around me and refused to allow me to just be so depressed and uplifted me and loved me just as I was, I noticed that I began to have fun at the wedding. And they showed video of her giving people rides on her walker and out dancing and having a good time with her walker and completely accepting, this is who I am right now. And I'm not going to let this stop me from having fun. And so she's been writing essays and been talking with people, and she's single, so she's been putting herself out on singles ads and saying, yeah, great, who wants to date a 33-year-old woman with ALS, right? But she's trying to make it fun and trying to have joy with it. And the word about her is getting out, and people are so impressed with her spirit. And she just says, you know what, I want to live the life I have with as much joy as possible. And the news anchor said later, you know, if she can do it, I think we can too. And that's what I want to say to us today too. No matter what we're going through, there's an opportunity for a little joy to lift us up a little bit and move us forward. And not only is Brooke living a greater life, she's bringing the message of it's time for us to find a cure for ALS out into the world through her willingness to be happy and transparent about her journey. And that, to me, makes all the difference. What would it take to make this more fun? That becomes the crucial question to ask and answer this week. And I close with a prayer from one of my favorite poets, Hafiz, who says to us, I sometimes forget that I was created for joy. My mind is too busy. My heart is too heavy for me to remember that I've been called to dance the sacred dance of life. I was created to smile, to love, to be lifted up, and to lift others up. Oh, sacred one, untangle my feet from all that ensnares. Free my soul, that we might dance, and that our dancing might be contagious. Let us pray in honor of joy today. I invite our practitioner prayer partners to stand with me if they choose as we pray this prayer together, recognizing the abundant nature of the joyous presence of God, that source that is shining brightly through all creation, feeling at any moment that as we attune to it, it attunes to us. As we attune to it, it attunes to us. For we are one, we are one. And that life and that light is flowing through us, infusing our every experience as we are called to walk the path of our life, feeling and experiencing the totality of this human life we are living, and yet always making space for joy to uplift us and call us forward into greater and greater expression and experience. And we recognize today, not only is that inherent joy a part of our livingness, that we can choose it. And so today I accept and affirm that we live out the joyous experience of being, and we choose consciously to make ourselves available for the opening of life, to bring forth greater and greater joyousness, even in those most challenging places. I accept and affirm that the creativity of each of our hearts and our minds and our souls is activated right here and right now, such that as we go forth from this place, we see more clearly, we love more clearly, we dance more joyously, and we live more life. Oh, what a joy it is to see this and affirm this and simply give thanks that this is the truth of us now. I release this prayer, letting it go, letting it be, and knowing that as it has been spoken, it is done. And so it is. Amen.
Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 Gratitude within.
Thank you, Lauren. I know you've been waiting, some of you. This is the time that it's time to take out our noisemakers. We're going to do something very different for our love offering today. I think circulating good through tithes and offerings should be fun and joyous, which is part of why we always have a fun and joyful song at the offering. And yet today is an invitation to stand and dance, whether you're circulating today or you're watching other people do it and you're tithing to give. Those of you watching at home can get up and dance. And if you want to get up and dance, feel free. And you can blow your noisemakers to the song and you can sing along. Now, I also want to tell you that some of the research that I've done about joy indicates that one of the greatest ways to activate joy, they say, is to play a song and sing it very loudly. And the research indicates that when you do that with a group of people, the effect is even more profound. The effect is that it stimulates the vagus nerve that runs through the core of us. And so when our vagus nerve is stimulated with joy, it just gives us a feeling of aliveness. And so we invite you to be alive and joyful as we move through this offering. And so our ushers are going to pass those baskets and do their best. And we thank you for all your contributions. And I also want to call your attention to our giving card of intent. We're still receiving these. We've received quite a few of them. And during the song, you're going to see the names of those who've given us permission to share their names of the folks who've already filled these cards out. And we're really grateful for all who have done that and continue to invite you to consider doing that with us this year. And so let us say our affirmation together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate.
All right, I need all your help. Just keep it coming. They paved paradise, put up a parking lot with a pink hotel, a boutique, and a swinging hot spot, yeah. And don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Oh, they took all the trees and put them in a tree museum. And then they charged the people, yeah, $1.50 just to see them. And don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Oh, hey farmer, farmer, put away the DDT now. Give me sparks on my apples, but leave me the birds and the bees. Please, don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Late last night, I heard my screen door slam, and a big yellow taxi took away my old man. And don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. And don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? All right, give it. Come on. As much as you can. Woo! Very good, very good. They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. I said they paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Yeah, they paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Oh, ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, yes. Well done. I feel the youthful energy. Yes.
Oh, thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Mile High Band. Thank you, Dr. Michelle. And welcome to our Mile High Joy and our party. If you are here for the first time, then this is the joy that we love to swim in here.
Thanks, Ron.
Yeah. So if you are here for the first time, I would love to welcome you, and I'll be in the Welcome Center after the service, and it would be a joy to share with you Mile High Church and everything that's going on here. And you'll notice that our beloved practitioner prayer partners have made their way down front. And so if you are feeling and wanting to experience the sacred container of prayer, please see one of them after the service. You can also put in... Yes.
Is that you?
Joy, the joy of prayer. And you can also put your prayers in, make the joyful prayers and all the prayers in the lobby. There are prayer cards. You can put them in online, and so we'll hope that you will explore all the ways that you can pray here at Mile High Church.
And today at 11:30, in just about a half hour, we're going to have a workshop that I'm conducting from 11:30 to 1, all about financial wellness and tools and ways to increase our experience of financial wellness. It'll be over in the community center. We do have snacks. I've learned from my colleagues to bring snacks. So it's all about the snacks. So please come and join us for that workshop. And we want to let you know that's our annual call for board members. We are recruiting 2 new board members to our wonderful board of trustees for 3-year terms. If you're a member and have completed the Beyond Limits class and think you might like to join the board, you can go to the board member table out there and talk to some of the board members about it if you'd like, and you can go online and get an application. We'd love to consider you for that. And so now I invite you to stand as we do our benediction and sing the peace song. And so we stand in love and light and joy right here and right now, for we are the joyful experience of God walking forward into our everyday life. We give thanks. We just let this be and let it go. And so it is.